Okay, I'm going to call the meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hi there. Secretary, call the roll.
Emmerich.
Here.
Chwada.
Here.
Casper. Dunlop.
Here.
Lloyd. Here. Barry. Nenza.
3.1, Superintendent's Report.
Yes, thank you. First item is our first day of school is coming up on August 23rd. And this is how educators know that they got into the right industry, because at the end of the school year, we're excited for the end of the year, we're excited to do summer planning, and then there always comes a time, this time of year, where we're excited to have the kids come back. And I feel it every year, and I'm looking forward to seeing the staff and the students back on August 23rd. Our opening days on August 21st and 22nd are going to be a little bit different this year than usual. Usually on our first professional day back, the staff will experience my keynote and staff awards and begin their district training, and then the second day is when they do their school improvement stuff and get ready for open house and such. And we've gotten a lot of feedback from staff people that say, you know, we really enjoy the opening day, but a little part of our minds are somewhere else, because we know that we need to be ready for open house and for our kids, and we're not quite, and that day in our building is when that happens. So we're playing around a little bit this year, and the first day of our opening days is going to be in their buildings. And they're gonna do school improvement stuff, get their rooms ready, get ready for open house. And then we're gonna do the district one on the second day, which is Tuesday, the 22nd, when they'll get the keynote and the awards. And we'll see how they react to that. I think that they're going to be more at peace and more confident and really be able to get into the message of the day. So I just want to extend the invitation to the board to come and be with us on that opening district day, which will be Tuesday, the 22nd. We serve breakfast at 7:30, and then the event begins at 8 a.m. And you know that I'll be hauling boxes upstairs in an old building in Cambridge at Harvard that day. So as much as I love that opening day, that's always one of the high points of my year, and I regret I'm not going to be there, but the keynote itself will be pre-recorded. So I hope that the board is able to join us that morning, and Angela will whisper in your ears later tonight about a couple little details about that, so we can do that up right. Our induction and mentoring program orientation week is getting ready to wrap up here. It began on August 8th, goes through the 15th, and we've got a small class of first years, first year with 146ers, a much smaller group than we're used to, and it's been great, really intimate experience, and the entire administrative team welcomed them on their first day on August 8th with introductions, and they got right into it, and I feel like they're going to be wonderful additions to the 146 family. So we wish them the best of luck. Several of them are this is going to be their first job in education, and we had a lot of fun with that. We reminisced about our first time, and I know Wendy and her team are making this a really special experience for them. So I'm excited for them as they begin their career in education, and those that had experience beginning their time with 146, and they're going to be great. Our paraprofessional training days are coming up, August 15th and 16th. They're going to be training in a variety of topics, CPR, crisis intervention, de-escalation, and then the role of the paraprofessionals in serving students. So we look forward to those days as well. And for the public, the board is already aware, but for the public's knowledge, our board meeting dates and locations for this year are on the district calendar, and we're going to get to each of the school buildings again this year, starting in September at Cruz, Our November meeting will be at Central. Our February meeting will be at Fulton. Our April meeting will be at Fierk, and our May meeting will be at Memorial. And all the other dates will be here in this room at the Ad Center. And all of those dates or times are on the district calendar or under the board tab. Now I'd like to ask Jay Money for a transportation update.
Yes, good news on the transportation. We just found out today that as of right now, all of our routes are assigned to individual drivers, meaning no doubles like we had last year. So things are still subject to change, but we think this is going to hold at least for a while. So for the first time since COVID, I think, we have fully staffed, non-doubled bus routes. So we're very excited about that.
Fantastic, thanks, Money. Vern, technology update?
Yeah, so we had several big projects this summer. First of all was the new phone system. So we're doing Comcast Business Voice Edge phones, and each of the 6 sites have their own system that can talk to each other. So we have 4-digit dialing across the district. Each site has capability of up to 70 concurrent calls, which should be way more than enough, lots more than what we ever had in the past. And we had a total of 350 phones that were installed across the district, so that was a pretty big undertaking there. And it's replacing our 20-plus-year-old Toshiba system, so we're finally saying goodbye to that. A second big project we had was the Cisco wireless network, and so we've finished up now and have replaced the entire wireless network in the district. This project, we kind of had it in 3 phases. So in the summer of 2021 and that fall, we did CMS as the first part of that project. And then last summer, we were able to wire 2 buildings for new wiring, but we had a delay with access points from Cisco. And then this summer, those access points came in. This summer's access points came in, and so we got the other buildings done and all the access points installed. So that was right at 300 new access points. And the third big project we're working on is just getting our large spaces so that we have projectors and screens in them. So we had 2 media centers that got brand new set up. So in Cruz and Fierk with the new construction that had been done over the past summer or 2. Now we also have the projectors and screens in those areas. Along with the 4 elementaries, all ask for projectors and screens in their gymnasiums. So when they have large either student events or parent nights and stuff, they can have that in there. And so they're really anxious to get to use those here in the new school year.
Again, this year, District 146 received the Certificate of Achievement of Excellence in Financial Reporting from the Government Finance Officers Association. That's the highest form of recommendation in public, is it municipality too? Just all public bodies financial reporting. So that's a nice tip of the cap to Jay Money and his team. We've become accustomed to getting that every year, but it's still a huge honor, and when districts get it for the first time, it says a lot about the quality of their organization, so it says no less about the quality of ours, and Money, we appreciate you and your team. Wendy, you want to talk a little bit about standards-based report cards?
Sure. We are currently finalizing our updated standard-based report card for K-5. We've posted our family guidance on our website under the parent tab, which will provide information on the reporting standards and the essential learnings that our teachers have identified throughout this year, where they want their students, the essential learnings that they want their students to learn and grow in throughout the year. And we are in the process of posting some summary pages and more examples of the essential learning on our website, as well as we'll be sharing with our teachers to share with parents on our curriculum night. So we're really looking forward to these enhancements.
Thanks, Gwen. Tinley Park Police Department had their National Night Out on August 1st, and we had Vern and Keegan present representing District 146. It's a great event, and I just wanted to say publicly that I appreciate Vern and Keegan giving their time to the community that way and representing District 146. You both did a great job.
Thank you, thank you.
Oh, yeah. So, Matt, you want to tell us a little bit about wrapping up the Cruise and Ferric HVAC projects?
Sure. The board is well aware, for the fourth year in a row, we've had projects going on at Ferric and Cruise to update both of those schools. This year's was quite an ambitious project, and to kind of remind everybody why we were ambitious doing two schools at once. When we were working with Precision Controls developing this project, it was the inflationary times were much crazier than they are this year, so we were concerned that it could get much worse, and by doing two schools at once, we were able to capitalize on some mobilization costs from the company. So that's why we undertook both during the year. Both schools are nearing the end. We're actively working at Cruise still. It's about a week behind Ferric. Ferric, everything's up and running. They're just finalizing Ferric's project, and Cruise is right behind. So they're going to be doing startup, getting cooling running at the end of this week. So we're going to be good with the equipment for opening day. I want to commend the custodial staff. It's been a really unique year for them. We were limited at both schools when we could clean, when we could do floors, carpeting, etc. So we were bouncing back and forth for the last 3.5 weeks, trying to get it done. So we're just wrapping up Cruise, and we'll be ready next Wednesday. And all staff are getting access to the school. So I also commend them because normally they have 2 weeks to get their classrooms ready, and with this project it's been limited to a week and several days, so I commend them also limitations, along with getting on the weekend.
Great work, Matt. Congratulations to Dr. Wolgan, who successfully... Wendy, I'm so happy for you. I know what a gauntlet it is to run, and how many times you want to say, that's enough, and you persevered and made it through and accomplished it, and you can check that off of your list of dreams to accomplish, and congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Number of condolences this month. Felix Palomo's mother, Mary H. Palomo, passed away in June. Felix has been a paraprofessional at Central for more than 20 years. Gail Flynn's father, Richard Doherty, passed away last month. He was 90 years old and lived a long and healthy life. Gail's a second-grade teacher at Fulton. Danielle Brown's father passed away last week. He was a veteran of the U.S. Army, served as chaplain at his VFW post 2604, and a devoted family man. Danielle previously taught at Memorial and is now in LBS at Ferric. And Matthew Berry, son of Julie Berry, passed away unexpectedly in June. Matthew attended Fulton and Central. He was a junior at Tinley Park High School, a loving son, brother, and friend. Matthew is deeply missed. Julie is our board vice president. We share our deepest condolences to those staff members and their families in their loss. And that's the superintendent's report.
Thank you. 4.1, citizens may address the board at this time. Seeing none, moving on to 5.1, union reports.
We don't really have a report since we've been busy doing additional learning ourselves and getting things ready for next week. We're looking forward to another great year of productive collaboration with the board and the admin, keeping the students in the forefront, and we're eager and excited to get going, ready for the school year.
On the support staff side, per our contract, we will be at the para training the next 2 days. We are still missing a few paras, but I believe Shar told me that we're pretty close to it, so yeah, she said that by the end of this week we should be good. We're looking forward to seeing the kids. I know that I've missed them because I didn't work summer school. From hearing, summer school was pretty good, was a success. And I know the other paras that did not work, I know they've been missing them, because we've got a buzz going on right now, who's got what students and such. So we're very excited, so, yeah.
That's Karen.
Excellent, thank you. Can I have a motion for the consent agenda, please?
I move that we adopt item 6.1, approval of minutes, 6.2, approval of closed session minutes, 6.3, approval of destruction of closed session tapes, 6.4, approval of financial items, and 6.5, approval of personnel items.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Secretary, call the roll.
Emmerich? Yes.
Yes.
Shalata?
Yes.
Casper?
Yes.
Dunlap?
Yes.
Lloyd, yes. Nenza?
Yes. Great. 7.1, tentative budget for fiscal year '24.
But I have a presentation that's gonna be on the screen, so those of you who are under.
Okay. Yeah, usually I am. My agenda. You know what, a lot of times I can't realize I can go on my phone. See, but I can't say all the right things to do the room. I'm not,
All right.
I would really like to talk about it anyway.
Budget for the upcoming school year, that's fiscal year '24. In my world, we're here. State law requires us to have a budget on display for 30 days before a final budget is approved. So this is the preliminary one, and then next month we will present the final budget. And before I get into the upcoming budget, I'd like to start this one with a review of how we did in the year that just ended. These are unaudited, unofficial numbers, but it's a pretty good idea of how the year that just ended went. So starting with revenue, here's our budget, and here's how we did. On the local side, we were very close to being on budget, just slightly above. On the state side, we were significantly above, and I'll talk about that in a minute. And then the federal revenue was a little bit under. So overall, we had a budget of $44.7 million. We received $45.8, so we were about $1 million over budget in revenue, which of course is a good thing, which is about 2% over budget. The main drivers of that, the main one was the property tax relief grant. If you recall, we've been talking about this. We got a second property tax relief grant. This took place after the budget was passed. So it was an additional $1.2 million in revenue that we weren't planning on. Also, interest rates continued to climb throughout the year. So as our old investments at low rates rolled off, we invested at higher numbers. So interest came in above revenue. Property taxes actually came down, and the main reason for that was because of refunds. When companies mainly protest their taxes, sometimes it takes years to roll through the system, and then if they win their cases, we have to pay refunds for back years. That's most of what this negative was. So if you put that all together, we were $1 million to the good on the revenue side. On the expense side, a lot of numbers, sorry about that, but you can see most of the numbers were under budget slightly. The one that was the biggest over was this other objects, which is basically our special ed tuition for sending kids out of district. We can't control that really, it just came in high this year. But if you look at the budget as a whole, we were still under about $1.6 million under, so, and 3%, 3.5% under budget. So revenues were over, expenses were under, it was a good year. And as you can see, we had budgeted for a $2.4 million deficit, which included some one-time things. But being $1 million over on the revenue and 1.6 under on the expense side, we actually ended up breaking even or having a slight surplus. So it was a good year for the year that just ended. So switching our focus now to the upcoming year, I'll start with a broad overview and then we'll talk about some specifics. But we're starting with a fund balance of $40.4 million. revenue of 46.8, expenses of 48 million, which is a deficit when you consider everything, which would leave our projected ending fund balance at 39.2. As a percentage of fund balance, we talk about that sometimes. We have a board policy that our fund balance will never be less than 50% of our revenues, and it's actually, the beginning fund balance is 86% of the revenue, and the ending fund balance is 83.8, which hopefully will be a little bit better than that, as we usually are. So that's kind of right in the sweet spot of what we're looking for. Our goal is generally 85% of our fund balance. So if you start with the deficit, 1.2 million, and subtract out all of the things that I call one-time things. We have construction costs of 1.8 million, that's the remainder of the HVAC that is mostly going to be paid in this current fiscal year. This is our year where we're abating twice. So that totals 3.6 million, I call that a one-time thing. And then the ESSER grants, the timing of that, we actually spent a lot of the money last year, but are getting reimbursed this year, so there's more revenue than we would normally have, so that would be subtracted out. So if you put all of this into the mix, we actually have an operating surplus of $2.8 million if you take out the one-time things. This is just a theoretical number. We're not going to make, this is the number that's going to actually happen, but I like to do this as an exercise to make sure that on an ongoing basis, we are at or above zero. So looking at the revenue side, interesting to me, these numbers here, just 3 years ago, local was 85% of our total, state was 10%, and federal was 5%. So these numbers have shifted, and it's really due to that property tax relief grant. The state number has gone way up, and the local burden has gone down a little bit. So it's accomplishing exactly what it is supposed to. On the local side, property taxes are the main part of our revenues. Half of it will be from 22, half of it will be from 23, and both of those years were 5% CPI years. So even though we're abating the $3.6 million this year, we're still actually going to get more in property taxes than we did in the previous year, and it's because of these big 5% CPI numbers. Also in the budget, interest revenue is continuing to go up, so that budget has increased by $600,000. So overall, local revenue is up by 3.1% compared to last year. And numbers-wise, it's going from 35 million to 36.1, so an increase of about $1 million just on the local side. On the state side, we continue to be in Tier 3. Tier 1 gets the most new money from the state, and then less for Tier 2, 3, and 4. This is about our third or fourth year in a row in Tier 3. It's a very small amount of new money, but over the past couple of years, we've had these 2 property tax relief grants, which becomes part of our new base funding minimum. So it's $2.2 million of extra revenue that started essentially 2 years ago and then last year, and now it's extra, it's part of our ongoing money every year. And all other state revenues are flat from last year. So on the state side though, because of the property tax relief going into the budget now, it's an extra $1 million that we didn't have last year, so we're going from 5.3 to 6.6. So a nice increase on the state side as well. And on the federal side, most of the federal funds are money in, money out, grant funded. But the timing is always the thing. Usually we have to spend the money first and then we get it following years. So ESSER is the big one here. Last year we had 2.5 million in ESSER. This year we're going to have 1.8 million. And next year it'll probably be back to zero. Those were temporary grants. So on the federal side, last year it was 4.3 million. This year 4 million. It's going down a little bit. So revenue overall Local is up $1 million, state is up $1.2 million, federal is down a little bit. Our revenue is going to go up $2 million compared to last year. That's the revenue side. On the expense side, here's how we spend our money. 70% of our expenses are salaries and benefits, and then the rest, smaller numbers on all of the other categories, for a total of $48 million of spending. And here's how it has changed from last year. Most of the numbers are up, but on a percentage basis, it's actually very small. Our staffing numbers are down because we had ESSER-funded positions that went away. So even though we have raises, we have fewer staff, so the increase is something like 1.5% on the salary side, and the same for benefits. So expenses are up, but they're up less than what the revenues are up. So again, last year at this time we were showing a $2.4 million deficit. This year it's 1.2, so it's trending in the right direction. And also a lot of this 1.2, as a reminder, is one-time things that are not part of our normal operations. So we'll put it all in the mix, and we have an operating surplus for the upcoming year, and we expect to end the year with $39 million as a fund balance, which is about 84% of our total revenue. So I went through that kind of fast, but questions if anybody has?
How much interest income in total are you assuming on 40 million?
It's over $1 million, 1.2, something like that.
Any questions? Okay, thank you. All right, 8.1, communications correspondence, we have one.
To the Ad Council and School Board, I want to thank you all so much for the thoughtful and generous gift card you gave me at the district retirement party. I appreciate your kind gift. All that the district, school board, and the Tinley Council have done during my 26 years in the district, and all that you will continue to do. It has been a privilege to have been able to work in this district, and I'm proud of all we've accomplished together. The district makes our community a better place, and that starts with the support we get from you. It has been a joy and a blessing to have been a part of the lives of our children and families. I pray that the good work continues. Thanks sincerely, Sue Brown, retired Fulton paraprofessional.
Okay, can I have a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.